everyone, welcome to my channel Humble Huz. I am excited to make this ship pillow with you today. This video is part 1. This is where I show you how to make the 2 sides of the ship, and then in video part 2 I will show you how to make the actual pillow, how to put it all together. Let me show you the materials that I am using. You can use the same ones or similar ones. So the first one is this Pound of Love from Lion brand. It is a medium 4 weight. This is 100% acrylic. The color is cherry. The next yarn is this Higa or Huga by Red Heart. This is a bulky 5 weight. It is 70% acrylic and 30% nylon. And the color of this is indigo. And then I am also using this Bernat Bundle Up by Yarnspirations. It is a medium 4 weight, 100% polyester, and the color for this is marshmallow. The last color that we're going to be using, well, that I will be using, is this Heartland by Lion brand. It is a medium 4 weight, and it's 100% acrylic. And the color for this is Black Canyon. Now, because the yarns are different weights, so you have the option to use a 6mm crochet hook or a 5.5mm or even a 5mm. I am going to stick with the 6mm crochet hook. These are some things I always have on hand. It doesn't mean I'll use them all, but I always have them with me. A measuring tape, scissors, a yarn needle, and stitch markers. Now for the pillow part, this is going to be the next video, you will need some fabric. I just get these at Walmart. You know, they're inexpensive. They have plenty of colors. Then of course some polyfill and a sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you know, you can always do it by hand. I mean, it will take a while, but it's not impossible. Now, before we get started, I do want to mention, because I know some of us like to get ahead, you have to remember that because the front and the back of the ship are different, don't do 2 sides that are exactly alike. Obviously, I will show you how to do that, but I did want to mention it before you get started. I am going to start with the red yarn. Start with a slip knot. To make a slip knot, form a loop, insert your hook through that middle part, go under that loop, then grab a hold of this loose end and carefully pull it through, not all the way. Just kind of put your thumb on the hook, then hold on to both ends and pull in opposite directions. Now adjust it onto your hook by pulling on one side, and there you have your slip knot. You don't want it too tight or too loose. Next, you will chain 64. To chain, all you do is yarn over your hook, sort of twist, and pull it through that loop. Again, yarn, do a half twist, and pull it through that loop. There you have 2 chains. You need to make 64 chains. Now that you have your 64 chains, so this is your base chain, we are going to start with row number 1. We will single crochet our way back, and you are going to start in the 2nd chain that is from your hook. So here's your hook, here's your 1st chain, and you will work into this 2nd one. The way to do a single crochet is you insert through that loop, then you yarn over, sort of twist, pull through the loop. You will have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over again, twist, and pull through those 2 loops. That is your first single crochet. Now you move on to the next loop over here, so that next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. There are your 2 single crochets. Continue on to the next chain or go under that loop, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Go all the way to the end of this row, and you're going to have 63 single crochets. So not 64 anymore, since we used one of those chains to turn. I forgot to mention, once you start row number 1, if you want to put a stitch marker on that first single crochet, just to make it easier once you come back, that is perfectly fine, but you don't have to. It does help though when you're counting, when you have your stitch marker, you just count these 2 loops that you see here. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. I have now finished row number 1. This is what it looks like at the end. Now you want to chain 1 and turn your work. I always like to turn it in the same direction. Moving on to row number 2. You need to start working, so not in here. This is where we just turned, but you want to work your first stitch through this space. So you see you have 2 loops at the top on all the stitches, and this is where you're going to start. We will start with a single crochet right here. Insert your hook, like I said, through both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And if you want to add a stitch marker right here as well, you can go ahead and do that right now. Go through these 2 loops. That is your first single crochet. Then continue on to the next stitch. So you will feel, even if you can't see it very well, you can feel where it goes through. And there's those 2 loops that you're going through. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to do this all the way to the end of this row, but at the end, we are going to add a stitch. So I will meet you on the other side. Just continue doing single crochets. Here I am, almost at the end of row number 2. This is my last stitch, so I go in here where the stitch marker was. Well, where the stitch marker is. I do my last single crochet. I can take out the stitch marker. So I have 63 single crochets once again, but we're going to add 1 more. Into this same stitch, you do 1 more single crochet for a total of 64 single crochets. That is the end of row number 2. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Let's start with row number 3. So you have this stitch right here, which is the one that we just turned, and you want to begin your single crochet in here. So work that first stitch in there with a single crochet. You can add your stitch marker, and now we continue with single crochets all the way to the end, and I will meet you there because we are going to add another stitch. This is the end of, well, almost the end of row number 3. I am now at stitch number 63, and then here where the stitch marker is, that is stitch number 64. Take it out, do a single crochet, and now I am going to add 1 more stitch to this same one. So that is going to give me 65 single crochets in total for row number 3. Now please bear with me, most of the rows are going to be back and forth changing in stitches, so we're going to be increasing and decreasing. Okay, let's chain 1 and turn our work. For row number 4, so we turned, right? Here's that turning stitch. We are going to work our first stitch in here. So insert your hook and do a single crochet. You can add your stitch marker. Now work all the way to the back. until you get to the other stitch marker, and I will meet you there. You will have 65 single crochet stitches, but remember that we are going to be adding one more to that. At the end of row number 4, so I have 65 single crochets. Now I'm going to take off my stitch marker, and into that same stitch I will add one more. That gives me a total of 66 single crochets for row number 4. Let's chain 1 and turn our work. Now that you have seen how it works with the rows that we add a stitch at the end, I want you to continue with rows number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 the same way we've been doing it until now, where you add one more stitch at the end. So you do an increase at the end of each row. Here are the number of stitches that you will have after each row. So for row number 5, you're going to have a total of 67 stitches at the end. Row number 6, you're going to have a total of 68 single crochet stitches. At the end of row number 7, you will have 69 single crochet stitches. At the end of row number 8, you will have a total of 70 single crochet stitches. At the end of row number 9, you will have 71 single crochet stitches. I will meet you once you are done with row number 9. So this is the end of row number 9. This is the front of the ship. So what I'm going to do is, on my stitch marker with a Sharpie, I'm going to put an F on this one, on the blue one, and a B on the orange one. So I know that's the back. I will now take off the stitch marker and chain 1, turn my work, and we begin row number 10. You're already a professional by now. So this is the one where we turned, and we will work our first stitch in here. Now on this row, row number 10, you will have no increases. It will be 71 single crochets all the way until you get to the other side. Here I am. I finished row number 10, and I will do no increases at this point. So remember, this is the back of the ship. I'm going to take out my stitch marker, chain 1, turn my work, and I am going to start row number 11. I will work in here, my first single crochet stitch, add my stitch marker. Now we will crochet our way to the other side. We are going to add one stitch once you are done with this row. Because remember, so this is the back of the ship, and this will be the front. So at the end of row number 11, you are going to have a total of 72 stitches. Okay, I have finished row number 11. This is the front of the ship once again. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and now for the next couple of rows, I am going to leave you to yourselves once again, but let me explain what you're going to do. For row number 12, you are going to work your way to the back of the ship. Every time you work towards the back of the ship, there will be no increases on this side. The only place you will do an increase is at the front of the ship. I'm going to walk you through from rows 12 to row number 20. All right, so row number 12, you are going to have a total of 72 single crochets for row number 12. You will have no increases there. Then for row number 13, you're going to have an increase here at the front of the ship. That means you will have a total of 73 single crochets. Then for row number 14, you're going to go back, and there will be no increases. That means at the end of row 14, you will have 73 single crochets. Row number 15, it will bring you back to the front of the ship. So you will have an increase at the end, means you will have 74 single crochet stitches. For row number 16, you will go back and you will have no increases there. That will give you a total of 74 single crochet stitches. For row number 17, you will work to the front of the ship, so you will have one increase here at the front. That will give you 75 single crochet stitches. And for row number 18, you will go back. There will be no increases, and you will have 75 single crochet stitches. And for row number 19, you come back to the front of the ship, add an increase here at the front, and you will have 76 single crochet stitches. And finally, row number 20 to the back, no increases there, and you will have 76 stitches at the end of row number 20. Okay, you are now done with row number 20. This is what it looks like. You're in the back of the ship. Let's switch colors. Oh, and sorry for the change of scenery. I don't have my desk right now. It's being occupied. All right, so grab your new color of yarn. You're going to make a little slip knot. I like to just make it with my hand. But if you want to do the slip knot like we did in the beginning, that's fine. You did your last stitch on row number 20. Take the new yarn, pull it through, then tighten the red yarn so that the blue now takes the place of that loop. Now chain 1 and turn your work. You do not need to cut off the red yarn. Just leave it there. We'll use it in a bit. Now for row number 21, you're going to start your first stitch here. You can add your stitch marker again. Now we will continue with single crochets. For this row 21, you will have a total of 77 single crochets since you will do one increase at the end of this row. This is the end of row number 21. You're at the front of the ship. Now chain 1 and turn. So it's hard to see with this yarn. You will insert your hook in here. Not there. This is where you will do your first single crochet. We will do single crochets all the way to the end, and I will meet you there because I am going to show you how to do a decrease. This is almost the end of row number 22. So far I have 75 single crochet stitches. I would technically still have 2 stitches left. This one and this one. This is the back of the ship, but we're going to do a decrease. The way the decrease works, you go into this next stitch, you yarn over, pull up a loop, and instead of finishing it off, you go into the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, and now you yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. There's your decrease. So you have a total of 76 single crochet stitches in row number 22. Now you chain 1 and turn your work. Let's continue with row number 23. You're going to start your first single crochet not in here, but in here. This is where you'll do that first stitch. Add your stitch marker if you like. And now you single crochet to the front of the ship where you will do an increase. That means you're going to have a total of 77 single crochet stitches. I will meet you after you're done with this row. This is the end of row number 23. This is the front of the boat, and this is the back of the boat. You chain 1 and turn your work. Now for rows number 24, 25, and 26, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Now, row number 24. You are going to do a decrease at the end of this row. That means you will have 76 single crochet stitches. Then you will turn around for row number 25. You're going to do an increase. That means you will have 77 single crochet stitches once again. Then you will turn around for row number 26 and you're going to do a decrease once again, and you will have 76 single crochet stitches for that. So I know it's a lot back and forth with the numbers. I will meet you after row 26. This is what your ship should look like now after row number 26. Let's change colors again. All right, you finished row number 26. You're going to pull up the first color of yarn that you use, so yarn A, lift it up, don't pull on it too much, so just loosely take it up to the stitch that you have on your hook, and then pull it through the loop that's on your hook. Tighten the old one, so the blue one, you tighten that. Now this takes, the red yarn takes the place of the old loop. And with this red yarn, you will chain one. There is your color switch. Turn your work. For row 27, this is the stitch that you will work into. In there. That's where you start your first single crochet. You can take your stitch marker and add it over here, like so. Remember that this is the back of the ship. When you get to the other side of this row number 27, you are going to add one stitch. So you will have an increase at the end of this row. That will give you a total of 77 single crochet stitches. There you have the end of row number 27. I did my increase here on that last stitch. I'm going to take out my stitch marker. Remember, this is the front of the ship. I'm going to chain one and turn. I guess you also notice that I'm back at my desk. I am able to use it again. And sorry about all this paint. I just can't get it off. My toddler loves colors, and some of them come off, some of them don't, even though they all say washable. Once again, I am going to walk you through the next couple of rows so that you can do these on your own. These are going to be rows number 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. So this next row will be row number 28. You will have a total of 77 single crochet stitches. There will be no increases or decreases here. Then for row number 29, you will come back and you will have a total of 78 single crochet stitches because you will do an increase here at this very front part of the ship. Then you go back for row number 30. You will again have 78 single crochet stitches. There are no increases or decreases. Then row number 31, you come back to the front. You will have 79 single crochet stitches because you will do another increase here. Row number 32, go back and you will have 79 single crochet stitches. There are no increases or decreases there. I will meet you at the end of row number 32. We are getting there. You have finished row number 32 and we want to switch colors again. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker and I will pull up the blue yarn again. So yarn B, and then loosely make a loop and pull it through and tighten the red color. Pull on that. And now I chain one. Turn my work. And I will now start row number 33. We'll work into this space right here and do my first single crochet. So for this row number 33, I will have a total of 80 stitches at the end of this row. Because remember, so this is the back of the ship, and I will do an increase at the end of this row. Here I am at the end of row number 33. I am going to do my increase on this last stitch. Now chain 1, take off my stitch marker, and turn my work. All right, now I will start row number 34 at my stitch marker. For row number 34, we are going to have 79 single crochet stitches at the end because we will do another decrease here on the back of the ship. Do you remember how we did it on this blue part? So we're doing the same thing again. Almost at the end of row number 34, and I am going to do my decrease here. There we have it. Now chain 1 and turn your work. All right, now for row number 35 and 36. For row number 35, you're going to do an increase here at the front of the ship as usual. That means you will have 80 single crochet stitches. And then for row number 36, you will go back and you will do a decrease again at the end of that row. That's going to bring you back to 79 single crochet stitches. I will meet you once you are done with those rows. I hope your ship is looking like mine. We are now done with row number 36. We are switching colors again. We're taking up the red yarn, so yarn A, back up here, make a little loop, pull it through. These are all going to be sewn in, so you're not going to see these threads later on. All right, now pull on the blue yarn and chain 1. You can turn your work now. This is now row number 37. Remember to work in here. It's so hard to see, right, with this yarn, into that space. We are going to do an increase. Where's my stitch marker? Here it is. My stitch marker is on there. We are going to do an increase at the end of this row. That means you will have 80 single crochet stitches at the end of row number 37. And another thing, you can now cut off this yarn. For row number 38, no increases there. You will have 80 single crochet stitches. Then you go to the front of the ship again on row 39. That will give you 81 single crochet stitches because you'll do another increase here at the front. And then for row number 40, you will go back here and you will have no increases. So you will have 81 single crochet stitches again. I will meet you once you are done with row number 40. You are finished with row number 40. Now we're going to cut off the yarn, the red yarn. All you will do now is yarn over and pull through this last loop and tighten that. You can take out your stitch marker now, and I will show you how to continue with the next part of this ship. So let's get our white yarn. Now with the white yarn, I am also going to do a slip knot. Remember, you can do it like this if you want, that little loop, and then pull it through, hold on to both ends, pull in opposite directions, tighten that. Okay, so now take this off your hook. You already have it here. From the front of your ship, so here's my stitch marker. I need to count to stitch number 20. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm going to go through both loops. Now with my hook, I will grab the white yarn, pull it through those 2 loops, and chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Your next stitch is going to be a double crochet stitch, but it's going to be in the same stitch right here, the one where you just did the chains. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same one, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through the next 2 loops. So we're counting this as 1, okay? So this will be the only stitch where you won't have them together because of that chain. But now the next stitch, I'm going to show you how to double crochet 2 together. Okay, so yarn over, go into the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Now instead of finishing this one off, you're going to yarn over again, insert into the same stitch, go through those loops, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You will have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. So this is what that looks like, the double crochet 2 together. So you're going to count this as 1 and then this as your second one. We need a total of 54 of these double crochet 2 together. Let me show you one more time. On the next stitch, take out the stitch marker. So on to the next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. Again, yarn over, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. There you have it. So this will be 1, 2, and 3. And like I mentioned, you need 54 of these sets. Don't get confused with this first one that has the chain. This counts, like I mentioned, as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will meet you once you are done with those 54 double crochet 2 together. Well, I hope your ship is looking just like mine, and we have finished the first row of this top part of the ship. Okay, we'll start again at number 1. Let's chain 1 and turn our work. This row number 2 is going to be very easy because all we have to do is single crochet into each of these stitches. Okay, you will have 54 in total. You start in here. I forgot to tell you, you're welcome to put your stitch marker on that first one if you like. I will meet you on the other side. Row number 2 is done. We are on what is now the front of the ship. And you are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and turn your work. For row number 3, of the top of the ship. Pay close attention. So here's our chain of 3, and here's that stitch, that same stitch that goes along with it. We want to do a double crochet stitch into this same stitch, right where you have that chain of 3. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, this is going to count as 1 stitch. Now you move on to the next stitch, and this time you will do a double crochet 2 together. Remember, like in row number 1, and I want you to add a stitch marker. Okay, but now that you have what I would consider 2 stitches, okay, so this is 1, this is the second one. Now you chain 2, and with that you're going to skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2. You will do your next double crochet 2 together in this one. Okay, so insert your hook in there, do your double crochet 2 together. Again, we will go on to the next stitch and repeat this double crochet 2 together. There, so that's 1 stitch and 2. Chain 2 again, skip 2, and work into this one. Again, a double crochet 2 together. If you don't remember how to do the double crochet 2 together, just go back to that first row of the top of the ship to remind yourself how to do it, because I obviously went a little fast. We're going to repeat this pattern. Once you get to the end of the row, I will meet you there. You will know that you did the right amount of stitches and that you skipped the correct amount of stitches and you chained those chains in between if, when you get to the end and you have 4 stitches left, you have a chain of 2, you skip those 2, and then you have 2 left to do your last 2 double crochet 2 together. That's when you know you did this right. If you're not, if you arrive here and it doesn't look the same, or let's say you end up with 2 chains or something, go back. Maybe you forgot to skip some stitches. Okay, let's chain 1 and turn our work. Row number 4 of the top of the ship, you're going to start your first single crochet in here. Add your stitch marker. Your next stitch will go in here. Now you will chain 2 again. So right over those 2 chains is where you chain 2. You skip those chains and then you have 2 stitches. So you want to single crochet in there into both of these. Repeat until you get to the end of this row. Guess what? We are going to switch colors again. Now I am going to use that black yarn, and if you want to look up how to do that little slip knot, otherwise I just wrap it around my fingers quickly and pull up through the middle, hold on to both sides and adjust it a little bit. Now I am going to put that yarn, the black yarn, through the loop that is on my hook, pull tight on the white yarn, and I'm going to chain 1 with the black yarn. Turn my work. You can take out your stitch marker. Okay, so this is row number 5. Now for row number 5, you need to pay close attention again. This is very important because you're going to do 2 different types, okay? Remember that you have 2 different pieces. So if you do them exactly the same, okay, as an example, this is the front of the boat of one of my pieces, of the first piece, and here are the windows. The back looks different. So if we were to do this second piece the same way, you would align them and you wouldn't have the correct windows on the other side if you were to turn the pillow. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you both ways because one piece you have to do it like this one. This is the one I'm going to show you first, how to do the next step. And then I'll undo that and show you how to do it for the second piece. I'm going to leave this one here, this first piece, so you know what we're talking about. Okay, we need to single crochet first into these 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. There's 1 and there's the second one. You can add your stitch marker if you like. Now we need to work with trebles. So for the first piece, you are going to work in the front of these chains. And then for the second piece, we're going to work in the back. So let me show you how to do the treble. For piece number 1, you're going to yarn over 2 times on your hook, like this. Then you're going to go into this first stitch. Do you see that? Into this one right here. You're going to go through those loops. Okay, insert your hook, and then through the space, you yarn over, pull up a loop. You are left with 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and before we finish it off, we are going to yarn over 2 times again, go into that same stitch, like so, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, you're left with 3, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so this was a treble 2 together. Again, let me show it to you again. This time you're going to work in here in that next stitch. So that is basically the second row that you're working into. Okay, this is row number 5. You're working into this second row. All right, so yarn over twice, insert your hook, go through that space, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, again, yarn over twice, insert into that same stitch, go through, yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 5 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, you have 3 left, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. There you have 2 sets of treble 2 together. Now you're back here and you single crochet into these next 2 stitches, the ones that are over these sets of the double crochet 2 together. Okay, so just insert your hook in there, do 1 single crochet, move on to the next one. It's a little hard to see, and do your next single crochet. Now we have this space again, and we repeat the same as we did here. So 2 sets of treble 2 together. Okay, so they're always going to be looking forward. This is for your first piece of the ship. Now I am going to undo this, and I'm going to show you how you do it for the second piece, okay? Because here I already have my first piece. I'm going to put this to the side, undo this. I just need to undo the trebles, okay? So for the second piece of the ship, which is going to be the back part, you do the first 2 single crochets just like we did with the other piece. But now we are going to go through the back of these chains. Yarn over twice, and instead of going through the front, you are simply going to go through the back of these, but still go into that stitch. So you're still going into the same stitches, but like this. So behind these chains, and then through this stitch right here, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, again, yarn over twice into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over twice, go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, again, yarn over twice, behind the chains, into that stitch, that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. And here we are back at these stitches where you will do 1 single crochet in here and 1 single crochet into that next stitch. So now when you line up your ship pieces, you will have this looking out, and if you turn it, you will also have this looking out. So very important that you don't forget to do this, especially because the front and the back of the ship are not the same. If you're on your first piece, then continue the way I showed you through the front of the chains, and if you're on your second piece, then make sure that you're going behind the chains into those stitches at the bottom. How did you do for row number 5? Was it very hard? I hope not. Okay, so here I am at the end. I am going to take out my stitch marker, chain 1, and turn my work, and I will now start row number 6 in this stitch right here. Okay, so for row number 6, all we do is single crochets, and you should have 54 single crochets. All right, so just continue doing your 54 single crochet stitches, and I will meet you at the end of this row. That was the end of row number 6. There's your look. So this is my second piece. Remember, this is the front of the ship. Now I am going to use the white yarn again, a loop, tighten that, and now chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and turn my work. In row number 7, we are repeating the exact same pattern that we did for rows 1 through 6. So this chain of 3 is that same chain of 3 that we started with in row number 1. All you have to do is go back and look at rows 1 through 6 to know exactly what we did and repeat that. I wanted to make sure that I showed you when you started the white yarn here at the bottom with the red, obviously after the chain of 3 you were able to go into the same stitch. That is not the case here. You simply go into this stitch to do the next double crochet. That is basically your first group, and then you continue into the next stitch with your double crochet 2 together. So 1, this is that first group, and 2. So you want to have, let me show you on this first piece, you want to have a total of 3. So this is rows 1 through 6, again rows 1 through 6, once again rows 1 through 6. I will meet you when you are done with that, and then we can continue with the other rows. All right, by now you should have a total of 3 sets of windows. You should have repeated rows 1 through 6 a total of 3 times. Let's switch yarns. I am now going to form a loop with the white yarn. I'm going to pull that through, tighten the black yarn again. All right, now we chain 3. 1, 2, and 3, and turn our work. Right now, let's do a double crochet into this first stitch right here. Add your stitch marker. Okay, remember these count as one group. And on your next stitch, there, we will do double crochet 2 together. The last 2 rows are going to be the same thing. You're going to have 54 double crochet 2 together. So 54 of these groups like we've done before. So this row, and then you come back. I will meet you once you're done with those last 2 rows. Now it's time to cut off the 2 yarns. So the black and the white. The black one, you're just going to cut it off, and then the white one, you also cut it off, but you're going to yarn over, pull through that loop that is on your hook, and tighten that. Now let's move on to these steam engines. So make sure you line up your 2 pieces the way they're going to be. So with the first one, if you're working on the first piece, see, it's just kind of hard to get it all into the image. Bear with me with the camera moving. So if you're working on the first piece, this is the front of the ship, you're going to start counting from here, okay, to do the small steam engine first. If you're working on your second piece, remember that, so this is the front of the ship again, the windows are inside, so we're counting from here. So right now I am going to work on the second piece. Okay, for the second piece, we are going to count from that first set of double crochets 2 together. This is that first stitch. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here on this 8th stitch, this is where we're going to start with the small steam engine. And if you were doing the front of the ship, it'll be the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we started on this 8th one. I'm going to use the black yarn. Remember how I like to do my little slip knot, just quickly through my fingers. And you don't have to make a slip knot necessarily. You could also just start with putting your yarn, your hook through that 8th stitch, and then pulling in the yarn. You see, I don't have a slip knot, so it doesn't have to be. Now we chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do a double crochet into this same stitch. Put in your stitch marker if you like. Go on to the next stitch and repeat a double crochet 2 together. Here's one. This is the second one. We need 12 of these double crochets 2 together. I've done 12 of the double crochets 2 together. Now you chain 3, turn your work, and you will do, we need 4 rows of these. So take your red yarn, pull it through that loop that's on your hook, tighten that black yarn, you don't need that, and chain 3. And do the same thing that you did with the black yarn, but you are only going to do 1 row of the red yarn. Okay, for the blue yarn, you are also only going to do 1 row of double crocheting 2 together. There, done with the first steam engine. We can cut off all of the yarns. With the blue one, I'm going to yarn over, pull through that loop, and tighten that. I'm holding the camera again. Bear with me if it's a little shaky. So I did the steamer for the second piece. All right, so if you're on your first piece, then you've done this one. Now we need to move on to the large steam engine. So the way to do it, if you're on your first piece, you will count from where you left off. So there's that last stitch that you made. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. On the 8th stitch, you're going to start the large steam engine. You're going to do a total of 16 double crochets 2 together. You're also going to do 4 rows with the black yarn, just like in the first steam engine, rows in the red yarn, and 2 rows in the blue yarn. When you're done with both of your pieces, and they should line up like this. So this will be the inside of the pillow. Okay, remember here's the back of the ship. Here's the front. When you turn it around, you have that same look. So that is going to be all for now. This is the first part of the video. In the next video, the second part, I am going to show you how to put the pillow together. So we're going to do the inside of the pillow and then join the 2 sides. All right, thank you for watching. This is my channel, Humble Huss. Bye.